Hi there, happy hump day and welcome to Wednesday. A little while ago I was chatting to my personal trainer about dropout rates. The dropout rate for people who sign up for gym membership. And what he said to me was when people sign up, about 70% of people who sign up for annual membership will turn up in week 1. By week 2, that's dropped to 50%. By week 3, it's down to 30%. So that means by week 4, you've got probably more than 70% of people who have signed up for an annual membership who aren't attending. What a waste. And yet, in many aspects of our life, there are things that we start and don't see through to completion. You may want to change something, and you may even feel as though it's something that you really want to do, but you get distracted. You find it too hard, too complicated. Other things get in the way, so you deprioritize, you de-scope. Logically, we all know that just wanting something to change won't make it happen. And that often it's easier to start things than it is to see them through to completion. One of the reasons why often when it is that we want to change something that doesn't succeed is because we haven't put in place the structure, the process that we need to make that change easier. You're not building in routine to support the change. Now, I know for many people, the whole idea of having a routine sounds really boring. They're not. Because the thing with a routine is effectively a habit. And when something becomes a habit, it just becomes easier to do. And if you look at many successful people in all quarters of life, they have routines, they have structure, they have habits that they use, that they've cultivated over the years that help them get things done. Richard Branson is a fantastic example of this. If you've ever read any of his books, you'll see that he's an early riser. Gets up at 5 a.m. Now, I'm not suggesting that to be successful you have to get up at 5 a.m., but he has a routine in the morning and in the evening. So his morning routine, apart from getting up at 5 o'clock, includes exercise, drinking tea, checking in with the family. And in one of his books, he talks about whilst he's known for being predictably unpredictable and that he's always up for an adventure, what he finds is that by having a morning and a nightly routine, that helps to start and finish his day well. On a number of occasions, I've been asked, how do you write a book? And often people will think that I'm going to give a long list of, really detailed things that you need to do. And to me, it's absolutely the same thing, down to one key thing. Get deliberate and structure yourself. Have discipline and a routine. Discipline about when you get up. Discipline about how much you're going to write each day. What a routine does is it saves you time and it saves you energy. Because as something becomes an ingrained pattern of behavior, you spend less time thinking about it, debating whether you're going to do it or not do it. You just get up and do it. It's that sustained repetition of an action in a consistent context that leads to that action becoming a habit. And once something is a habit, we need to rely less on conscious thought and motivation to actually get it done. If you've ever read Charles Duhigg's book, The Power of Habit, you'll know that he talks about this in his book. And if you haven't read it, it's actually well worth reading. So one of the things worth thinking about is how do you go about structuring a habit and a routine? And Charles Duhigg will give an example in his book, but this is what I like to use. Firstly, identify what it is that you want to change. What's the goal? And write it down. There is something that happens when you write something down. That translation point makes it more tangible, more real. Acknowledge that the status quo can't remain and recognize and accept your part in changing that status quo. Then identify the ways things need to change. So what is it that you need to disrupt in your environment to create that new routine and the habit? Then think about how you break it down into micro steps, because it's so much easier to form a new habit when it's broken down into mini steps. Have visual cues, reminders. I know for me, when I was setting up the practice of wanting to meditate every day, one of the visual cues that I had was the meditation practice, which was on my bedroom wall. That then meant when I woke up in the morning, I had a cue and a reminder of what I needed to do. Tell someone you're going to do it. When you commit to a change publicly, it's so much harder to back out. Then monitor your progress. So you've set the steps that you want to take, you know the goal, you're building those micro steps, you've got visual cues in place, you've told someone. Once you're starting to see that you're making progress, celebrate it. I remember when I was setting the routine that I wanted to put in place for meditation, and there was a set process. I'd get up in the morning, I'd see the reminder, which was the meditation practice, I'd put the kettle on, make myself a cup of herbal tea, then I would sit down and meditate. It was that consistent action, those consistent steps, that then meant when I wake up every morning, that's what I do, I meditate. The most important thing with all of this as well is to keep it really simple and keep it manageable, because the complexity of the habit and the routine that you are trying to set will determine how long it's going to take. I always love the words of Charles Dickens, who said, I never could have done what I've done without the habits of punctuality, order, and diligence, and without the determination to concentrate on one subject at a time. So it's a good reminder. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it, because you can build habits on habits. Take care, have a great week, and I'll see you next week.